All right, today we're going to talk about something huge, air pollution. But, instead of just throwing a bunch of charts and data at you, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to unpack all the science through a simple story.
So, how do you even begin to tackle a topic that big, right? How do you make a giant global issue feel, well, personal? The source material for this explainer has a really clever way of doing just that. It wraps up all that complex science in a story that, honestly, anyone can follow.
And this story is about a really big problem. I mean, it's something that quietly affects every single one of us every single day. And yeah, it can feel totally overwhelming. But what this story shows us is that once you understand the science behind it, it's not impossible to solve. Not at all.
Okay, so let's jump in. First up, we meet our hero. Her name is Arya, and she lives in a town called Greenleaf. Now, with a name like Greenleaf, you're picturing blue skies, fresh air, the whole deal, right? Well, that's exactly where a story kicks off.
For a long time, Greenleaf was just what you'd imagine. It was perfect. But then, one morning, Arya wakes up, looks outside, and something is wrong. That bright blue sky she's known her whole life, it's gone. Replaced by this gray, dull, kind of strange-looking haze. Even the air smells off. And this sudden, weird change makes Arya ask a question. It's such a simple question, but it's also so important. It's the question that really starts everything, not just for her, but for us too. She just asks, why does the air look so dirty? And that one question, it leads us right into the science of what's really going on, because you can't fix a problem if you don't understand it, right? So Arya and we have to dig in and figure out the invisible stuff that's causing this very visible gray sky. So her teacher explains it in this really clear, simple way. Air pollution isn't just some big, scary, mysterious thing. Nope, it's actually made of real stuff. Harmful gases and these teeny tiny particles that are getting mixed into the very air that we all have to breathe. Okay, so where's it all coming from? Well, in the story, a magical guide named Arrow points out the biggest sources. And you'll recognize them instantly, because they're things we see all the time. We're talking about cars, trucks, big factories, even just burning trash. All of these things are pumping out smoke and a really important gas, carbon dioxide, or CO2. And this is a really key point. CO2 isn't inherently bad. It's actually a natural part of our atmosphere. The real problem here isn't the gas itself, it's the amount. It's a question of balance. We're just putting way too much of it out there, and the planet's natural systems just can't keep up. Which brings us to nature's own amazing solution. I mean, think about it. Trees are basically the lungs of the planet. It's a perfect system. They breathe in all that extra CO2 we're creating, and they breathe out the oxygen we need to survive. They really are our first and best line of defense. So, okay, we get the problem. We understand the science. But knowing is only half the battle, right? The real question is, what do we do about it? Well, the story doesn't leave us hanging. It lays out this really clear, science-based plan with 3 different paths we can take to get clean air. So, the guide, Arrow, he makes it clear there's no single magic fix. It's more of a team effort, a 3-part strategy. First, there's the natural path. That's the trees we just talked about. Second is the technology path, which is all about human innovation. And third, and this one might be the most important of all, is the community path. Let's take a quick look at that technology path. For the really big polluters, like factories, we've actually invented some pretty cool stuff, things called scrubbers. You can basically think of them as giant filters on the smokestacks that catch all the nasty gases before they can get out into the air. And that brings us to the community path. This is where it gets really powerful, because it's about how all of our small, everyday choices can add up to something huge. Every time someone decides to ride a bike, or hop on a bus, or carpool with a friend, that's one less car pumping out exhaust. And when a whole community gets behind clean energy, like solar power, wow, the impact is massive. It really adds up. All right, so now Arya gets it. She has the science, she knows the solutions. But knowing stuff is one thing. Doing something with that knowledge is what really counts. And that leads us to the final, and honestly, the best part of the story, where Arya and her friends actually put this plan into action. And just look what happens. It's incredible. Arya and her friends start this clean air club. They start planting trees, they talk to people about making cleaner choices, and the sky over Greenleaf literally transforms. It goes from that yucky, polluted gray all the way back to the beautiful, bright blue it was always supposed to be.
The story wraps up with this one perfect line from Arya that just says it all. It's the big takeaway, really. What we do has a real, direct, visible effect on our world. When we take care of the air, the whole planet feels it. And that's where the story brings it all back to us, to you. Arya's journey just goes to show that even these massive, scary environmental problems can be tackled. It starts with small steps, all based on science. So we'll leave you with this final thought, this final question. What's one small, scientific action that you can take to help clear the air?